Hello there, Atheist Junior here, your friend and humble narrator, and I'm so excited to be coming at you guys with a Whack an Atheist stream. Now, these streams are by far the most popular content on my channel, for better or for worse. So, you got to give the people what they want. And, I am so happy that I feel really #blessed that I have a community of you guys who allow me to come out with what the content that I want to make, regardless of what it is. And I know that you guys are going to watch it, that the views will be there, but that, sometimes you just got to come out with a fucking banger Whack an Atheist stream. You know what I mean? Like, it still blows my mind that some of the streams I've done are at like 17,000, 21,000 views. Like, crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like, that I would be able to make content that reaches that many people blows my mind, So thank you guys so much. And let me know in the chat if my audio is okay. We're going to get started. I don't want to take up any more time, but this is the last stream of 2023. It's been a great year for my channel, and we're going into 2024 with a bang, so I want this stream to be really good. So let's get into it. SciManDan, Kent Hovind, Matt Powell, Geology, Polystrate fossils. Let's do it.
Good evening, folks. Kent Hovind here in the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in Lenox, Alabama. Beautiful day out there today. It is December the 27th, 2023. A couple more days left this year.
Yeah, a couple more days left until 2024. And in January, you're going to have your court date against Cindy Lincoln for the bogus contract that you and Ernie Land drew up. The one where you took like over $10,000 of her money? More than that? So hopefully it doesn't get delayed, because, if you seeing justice for that would be a big win, for Cindy, because you've put her through so much, Kent. You really have. You're an abusive person. And that's not me saying that. That's the judge of Connecticut County who said that when he found you guilty of domestically abusing your wife, your third wife, because you have 4. You're on your 4th. Is that Christian? Is that Christian to marry 4 times? And you want to talk about my dating life, my romantic life, Kent? When you're on your 4th wife? Fuck you, Kent. You're a fucking horrible person. Anyway, let's go.
Tonight, Whack an Atheist Wednesday. SciManDan, you get it again. I can't believe you did what you did. We're going to have to smack you over this one. Okay.
This is classic abuser talk. This is exactly the way that an abusive husband would speak to their battered spouse. Okay? So first you infantilize the person. Then you put the blame on them. I can't believe you did this again. I can't believe you did this again. And then you threaten them. You infantilize, you blame and gaslight, and then you threaten them with violence. God, I can't believe you did this again. I'm going to have to smack you for this one. I'm going to have to smack you. It's a threat. It's the or else mentality. It might seem innocuous with the Whack an Atheist whack-a-mole thing, but this is just a microcosm of how Kent thinks and operates, and it's because he's an abuser. This is how abusers think and talk.
Dan Rourke, not O'Rourke. Okay, Dan.
Why do you have to give out people's last names, Kent? Why do you have to constantly try and dox people? You are such a scumbag, dude. You're literally such a scumbag, bro.
Rourke, SciManDan. Again, you can follow us on Rumble, on Odyssey, on a whole bunch.
Oh, Rumble, the platform with all the other Nazis. You'll be right at home.
Places on drdino.com. Genesis Baptist Church.
You are not a doctor, Kent. You are not a fucking doctor. You are on borrowed honor. What's the phrase? Like, somebody in the chat can tell me, like, veiled honor. You know what I'm talking about. You're a faker, Kent. You are not a doctor. You don't have a PhD from an accredited school. So you're not a doctor. So you're a liar.
You can click them buttons and it does something, right? Okay.
This man doesn't even know what a QR code is or how it works. Learn technology, Kent, you fucking boomer.
Do it, whatever it does. Okay. Genesis Baptist Church, old-fashioned, independent, temperamental, fundamental, right-wing, radical, chicken-eating Baptist Church. Let's see, right here. Don't be deceived, the Bible says. Don't be deceived. Don't be deceived. Satan is the master deceiver. He fought against the Lord in heaven.
Thank you so much for the super chat, Yoda Bomb, for $10. Thank you. Always happy to catch one of your streams. All the best in 2024. I agree. I think we're gonna have a great year. Hopefully Kent doesn't.
And the Lord kicked him out. He was cast out.
Stolen valor. Thank you. It's exactly right.
He deceiveth the whole world. Be not deceived. God is not mocked. You folks who believe in evolution have been deceived. We're here to help you. We want to get you back to real science. There's a creator, okay? We are straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles, in the itty-bitty town of Lenox, Alabama. We got 140 acres here. You guys will take the tour tomorrow. And again, where are you from? You told me Tampa. That's right. Good to have you here. Got a family this morning from Tampa left, so they come and go around here. Good to have you here. Let's see. God ought to get the glory for his creation. Here we are. SciManDan, December 27th. You can help us stay open for free. Join our 777 club. Go to drdino.com. Say, I like what you guys are doing. I'm going to help you give $1 a day, whatever you can, to keep us going. Winning soul. 7.71 years we've been open now for free. I already got that in there twice. Let's see. Tonight, SciManDan is going to get whacked. This is based on the whack-a-mole game. How many of you have ever played whack-a-mole before? Ever done that? That's fun, okay? You put in a quarter or 2 quarters or whatever it is and whack the mole back down. Whack-a-mole game. When the mole sticks his head up, you whack him back down, okay? Whack-a-mole's fun, it's fast, and when they stick their head up, you see how fast you can whack them back down. When atheists stick their head up and say something dumb, whack them back down with real science.
Real science? Your younger creationism is pseudoscience.
Real science. SciManDan. Science. I'll teach you a little bit tonight, okay? Let's see. Even small children can learn to play and love whack-a-mole, right? Adults love it. I like it. Whack-a-mole, we wait for an atheist to stick his head up, make a silly claim that his evolution religion is true, and then we whack him back down with real science. Some have learned to stay down, some don't get it. You got to do it over and over. Dan is one of those. You got to keep after him. I kind of enjoy it. So the winner tonight, SciManDan. Daniel Rourke, also known as SciManDan, is a 40-year-old English YouTuber. Who debunks conspiracy theories such as flat Earth. And you do a good job at that, Dan. It's a dumb theory. You should debunk that. You should also debunk evolution, okay? He has A levels in maths, physics, environmental science, and geography, and B Tech in sports science. I didn't know what A levels was. This is the way they do it over in England someplace, okay? Advanced level, A level. Mathematics is a qualification for further
education. The equivalent to A level would be like being in an advanced placement class in American high schools, but really it's not. There's not an exact equivalent. But yeah, it would be like advanced placement classes, or like when I was a senior in high school, I was in an English class that was called dual credit. So during the first and second semester of my senior year, the first semester, in addition to getting the credit for English 4, you'd also get college credit for English 1301. And then the second semester, you'd get credit for 1302. So it's like you'd get dual credit. So you're getting college credit because the curriculum in the high school class was, more advanced than the regular English 4. So it was considered like you're getting college credit, which is like, a nice head start. But yeah, what is the relevance of this, Kent? Why do you have to Google people's like information when you are going to do a video about them? Why can't you just watch the video and react to that? It's creepy how you look up people's personal info. Like you tried to look up Aaron Ra on like friendfinder.com, one of those websites that digs up people's home addresses. Why did you do that? Like, why would you do that? It's weird. It's creepy, dude. I know why you do it, because you want to dox people. You want to give out people's personal information because you can't argue for young earth creationism honestly. You can't argue in good faith, so you have to resort to slimy, underhanded tactics like giving out people's personal information, like ad hominem attacks, where you insult people for being LGBT or being trans during a debate. The stuff you said to Daria and her boyfriend during your debate is disgusting, Kent. Disgusting. Shame on you. You're a horrible person, Kent. Fucking horrible person, dude. Okay, we have a super chat from Cameron. It says for $5. It says, "This year is going to be awesome, AJ. Hope you're feeling fantastic. Thanks for all the streaming." I'm feeling good, dude. I'm primed. I'm ready to fucking knock this stream out and send the year off with a good kick in the ass.
Education taken in the United Kingdom and occasionally other countries as well. A-level exams are traditionally
Can you see my cool shirt?
taken by 17 to 18-year-olds. That would be what, a senior in high school here. So Dan, junior, senior level high
It's Tommy Hilfiger.
school, he made it, graduated. But he calls himself SciManDan. Now wait. Math, physics, environmental science, and geography. Okay. Well, SciManDan, some of the comments.
What's your point, Kent? Are you trying to belittle his education? Why? Because you're more educated than him? You have fake doctorates, Kent. You have a fake diploma from Patriot Bible College who doesn't even offer a PhD. They don't offer a PhD. They offer a doctorate of ministry. That's not a PhD. It's not the same thing, Kent. They have a doctorate of ministry for Christian education. But you, in your debates, you tell people, in his early debates, you tell people that you have a PhD in education. So you drop the fact that it's actually a doctorate of ministry, and you drop the fact that it's a Christian education, and you don't mention that it's from Patriot Bible College. Are you embarrassed of the religious aspect of your education? Why would you be embarrassed of that? Why would you hide that fact, Kent? Is it because you're a liar? Yes, it is. It is. You're a liar, Kent, and a horrible, horrible person.
On his channel. I just got a couple. Then I'm going to play a short clip that he did about Matt Powell yesterday. It's hilarious when they trust scientists in data that they think supports their belief, but ignore them on things that totally refute their belief. Got to be talking about the evolutionist. Because there's
good comeback. Somebody says something to insult creationism or Kent. No, that's actually about the evolutionists. This is Kent's only retort. It's so lame, Kent. No you. Like, think of something better, dude. It's like literally the most brain dead response. That's you. I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off of me and sticks to the semen that comes out of the tailbone. I mean, your muscles attached to the tailbone. Hovind.
a lot of data that totally refute
That's a lot of data. That's a lot of Hovind.
your belief in evolution. Okay. Andrew.
This is what I watched the debate between Kent and what's the name of the lady who I'm gonna have to look the video up. It's my video where it's the lady who destroys Kent Hovind. Anyway, she grew up in Peoria, the same town that Kent Hovind did. And so she knows where Kent went to high school. She knows all about Kent and like his personal life. And she used that to put Kent on blast during their debate. It was like 20 years ago. But during that debate, she said that Patriot Bible College, at least at the time, did not even offer a PhD. That they own at Karen Bartelt, Dr. Karen Bartelt. She's an actual doctor. During that debate, now she could be wrong, but honestly, all of her information, I pretty much trust what she says. But she claimed during that debate that Patriot did not offer a doctorate of philosophy, that they only offered a doctorate of ministry for Christian education, which makes sense. But either way, it's not accredited. But then Kent says, actually, my degree is a PhD, and he shows an image on screen of his diploma. So take that for what you will. But I'm going to try not to pause so much. I'm heated.
As a Christian, I find it offensive when anyone tries to disprove science. Well, Andrew, we love science here. It's evolution does not belong in science class. That's a religion. Evolution is. You have to believe in it. It's not part of science. I find beautiful, logical, and fact-driven. I find science. Yeah, me too. Why are some Christians threatened by this? I'm not threatened by science. We're threatened by the pollution of science with this stupid evolution religion. I'm still waiting for an explanation of how any fish survived with all the world's salt and fresh water combining. Wait. Yeti. All the world was fresh water at the time of the flood. The oceans
And you know that how? You're just claiming that? Okay.
have gradually gotten saltier. So they're not
If the guy was asking the reverse question, you would say that the earth was saltwater at the time.
a problem. At the Noah and the ark, the whole world is fresh water. Some animals haven't adapted to salt water in the last 4,500 years. Are the oceans getting saltier? BBC? Yeah. Dead Sea is 10 times saltier than normal seawater. Let's see.
Kent Hovind's 10 times saltier after he does a debate with me.
Robert Matthews says, as this process has been operating for billions of years, there's no doubt oceans have gotten saltier over time. In fact, the real mystery is how they aren't now saturated with salt, with the stuff, making them as lifeless as the Dead Sea. Well, Robert, let me explain to you. The reason the oceans aren't as salty as the Dead Sea is because they're not billions of years old, okay? They're about 4,500 years old from Noah's flood. So anyway, Dan the scoffer keeps sticking his head up, say dumb things. He knows nothing about the Bible. You keep whacking him, hope he keeps his head down or wake up before it's too late. And let's see. Dan, this is for your own good. Pay attention. All right. Bible said there would be.
All right. I had this image on my hard drive, but I couldn't find it, so I looked on the internet. So this is the image that Kent Hovind shows after Karen Bartelt says that Patriot didn't offer a PhD. And so I don't know how much truth I put in this because it's from Kent, but this person says, one of Kent Hovind's bogus PhDs I stumbled upon the internet. I think this is what it says where the arrow is pointing. By virtue of satisfactory completion of all requirements that degree and in approval of a commitment and attitude towards the scriptures. The scriptures. Why would it say the scriptures on a PhD? It doesn't say that. And where does it say what the degree is in? Does it say Christian education? It says Patriot University of Colorado confers on Kent E. Hovind the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Then it says this stuff, which, if this is accurate, the grammar doesn't even seem right. By virtue of satisfactory completion of all requirements for that degree and in approval of a commitment and attitude towards the scriptures. Okay, I thought there was a word missing. I accidentally a word. Don't degrees usually say what it's in, like biology or whatever, engineering? Why does it not say education or Christian education? Hold on. Okay. I'm trying to take this image off the screen. All right.
Scoffers
Let's get back to the video.
in the last days who would be willingly ignorant, it says in verse number 5. They're willingly ignorant, number 1, by the word of God, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. They're ignorant of how God made the heaven and the earth, okay? They're ignorant also of the flood. The world was overflowed with water and perished. They're ignorant of that. And they're ignorant of the coming judgment of God. The heaven and earth, which are now, are the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. So the scoffers are ignorant of the creation 6,000 years ago over here, and they're ignorant of the flood, and they're ignorant of the coming judgment of God. Dan, a typical scoffer, is totally ignorant of all three. He doesn't understand what the world was like when God made it. He certainly doesn't understand the flood, and he doesn't understand the coming judgment of God yet, but he will. Okay. Fool said in his heart, there's no God. The fool said, there's no God. You're a fool if you don't believe in God. And I'll debate you anytime, Dan, anytime. Bring it on, okay? Bring your whole English crew with you, okay? Scoffers delight in their scorning. Okay, I want to get to Dan here, right here. Oh, Dan has done a lot of stuff debunking flat Earth. He's good at it. Thank you, Dan. You need to. The Earth is round, okay? Kansas is flat. The rest of it's round. But he attacks, let's see, Professor Dave destroys Kent Hovind. Whoa, when did that happen? I don't believe I was there for that one. Dave, Dan, I'm sorry, bring it on, okay? Taking on the biggest evolution denier on YouTube. It looks like me in the background, doesn't it? Sure does. Hawaiian shirt and everything. Wow. Let's see. You don't want to visit this Creation Science Center. Talking about us a year ago. Why not, Dan? We might learn some real science. Come on. I'll give you the tour. Put you up in a cabin. Everything's free. We'll feed you, house you. Former science teacher doesn't know any science. Well, I don't know who you're talking about there, Dan, because I know quite a bit. Matter of fact, I'll debate you. Bring it on, okay? Popular evolution denier is unpopular. I think you got a contradiction. How can a popular one be unpopular?
Watch the video and you'll see. That's the joke, Kent. Apologia knows what he's doing. It's a good video.
Think about it. Learn some English, okay? Let's see. Evolution denier can't science. Not even a tiny bit. Does that make sense?
It's using the word science as a verb. It's like a catchphrase. It's like a turn of phrase. It's like slang. You know, it's like, oh, I scienced the shit out of that. You know, I scienced the shit out of that experiment. I scienced the shit out of fixing my bike. You know, it's like, dude, you can't even science. It's just young people use phrases like this that are sometimes not exactly grammatically accurate. Kent, like you say things that are not accurate either, like drowning or height, stuff like that. Why are you calling other people out? Like, obviously, you understand what it's supposed to say. Evolution denier can't science, not even a tiny bit. Obviously, it's omitting the word do. Evolution denier can't do science. Evolution denier can't understand science, not even a tiny bit. Obviously, it's omitting a word for comedic effect. It's a YouTube title. YouTube titles and thumbnails are meant to be eye-catching or interesting in the way they're written. So he's not going to title his video, Younger Creationist Kent Hovind does not understand the fundamentals of science. Not even a small amount. No, it's too long. It's boring. It's not going to hit on the algorithm. It's not going to hit that loud legal cush on the algorithm, Kent. Like you title your videos really boring ways because you don't understand YouTube because you're a boomer.
Evolution denier can't science. Is that like can't walk, can't?
Yeah,
okay.
It's exactly like that.
Kent Hovind tries to debunk SciManDan and fails miserably. Whoa. Okay.
God, I love Red Bull.
Anyway, he's got plenty of stuff on me on his channel. So Dan, tonight you get the prize. Let's go over to SciManDan and wow, he looks mad. Let's see. He's going to take on Matt Powell here for 10 minutes.
More interesting, as it read, Noah's flood is a fact of history.
Well, Dan, a whole lot of cultures talk about a worldwide flood. It's not just the Bible. I mean, it's
a whole lot of cultures own slaves.
There's flood legends. I think 250 flood legends have been discovered in ancient cultures. Were they all stupid? Were they all lying? Or
lots of cultures had flat earth myths.
Could there really have been an event they talked about? Plus, geological evidence. I mean, you got an A level in geology.
No. Geography, not geology.
I think there's geological evidence. The whole world's been underwater at one time. You guys just don't think it was all at the same time. Here we go. SciManDan.
So you think that the entire world can be underwater, but not at the same time? Like there can be different times when the Earth is underwater, or what parts of it are underwater, just not all at once? Yeah. So what? Son.
Yeah.
I was rewatching that Creaky Blinder video. That guy cracks me up.
Tinfoil hat. Very appropriate. Tinfoil.
Hello and welcome along to this Boxing Day edition of Tinfoil Tuesday with me, SciManDan. Thank you very much for joining me. Right, Matt Powell and his Noah's Ark video is the order of the day, so let's get on with it, shall we? We join Matt, let's remember, as he starts to tell us why he thinks that Noah's flood is a fact of history. In the center.
And Dan, let me point out, you think the whole world fit in a dot smaller than a period as a fact of history, don't you? And you believe you came from a rock as a fact of history. And you believe you're related to a, let's see, what is SciManDan related to? I don't have him on my chart.
All of those things you said are wrong.
Let's pick one. SciManDan, are you related to a mosquito? I'm going to give that a yes. I know you believe you are. Yeah, go ahead. Let's see.
Of the United States, we find hundreds and hundreds of dinosaur graveyards. Each one of these dots that you see represents a graveyard that contains sometimes hundreds of thousands of fossils. Many of these dinosaurs are found fully intact, and we've discovered that they died from choking on mud.
That's not a fact, by the way, a credible explanation for sure, given the posture of the animal, etc., but far from conclusive.
Wait a minute. It's far from conclusive that they choked on mud. Okay. They suffocated. The neck is in an arched back position. I think a lot of scientists would agree they.
Kent, I'm going to email the tech guy. I've tried to reach out to this person in the comment section. Dude, learn how to use the internal audio on your computer. Stop playing audio out of your speakers and picking it up on the mic. That's literally the worst way to record a response video because it sounds like shit. And Kent got all mad when I said that his videos are like unwatchable because of the quality of them. Now, when I said that, I was referring to a video that was literally so glitchy and like stuttering that it was literally unwatchable. Obviously, most of his content is watchable now, but he said that my content is unwatchable. No, my content is fantastic. And compared to yours, it's like fucking godlike, Kent. I mean, you come out with a video basically every day because you spam your religious crappy sermons. I like to take my time when I do a stream. Now, I would like to come out with content faster, but you know, I believe in quality over quantity. You know, I don't shit out videos like you do, Kent.
They drowned in muddy water or mud. But anyway, doesn't matter. They're dead. He's pointing out there's a whole bunch of dinosaurs buried, a whole bunch of animals buried. How many fossils formed in the last 5 years, would you guess? Probably none. How many animals died in the last 5 years? Colonel Sanders killed a bunch himself, you know? Yeah.
The fossil evidence shows dates of dinosaur fossils 250 to 260 million years ago. So they were not buried at one time in a global flood. Rivers, lakes, and lagoons have depositions of sediment and mud, like mudslides. Individual floods could have buried dead animals quickly to form fossils. So there's no evidence that it's a global flood where all this happened at one time. There are explanations for all the fossils we find that don't add up to a global flood.
And most fossilized dinosaurs were
And fossils can't form in 5 years. What a ridiculous question.
caused by mud or silt covering their deceased bodies. And it would have to have happened pretty quickly.
Dan, slow down. The mud or silt covered their deceased bodies. Could it be the mud or silt made them become deceased? Is that even a possibility?
Yes, but it could be from an individual flood or mudslide. It doesn't have to be a global flood.
All these dinosaurs, sometimes thousands of them, died in the same area, and then they got covered by mud? Use your logic, Dan. Come on.
What's illogical about that?
After their death.
And so you have to ask the question, what could cause a tsunami so big that it would encompass the entire United States, or at least half of the United States, and bury hundreds of thousands of creatures and sea life together all in one large event.
Got a good point, Matt. There's not only land animals, but sea animals all buried together. Let's hear it, Dan. How did that happen?
Okay. The late Cretaceous Hell Creek Formation in North Dakota is a low-lying continental margin along the western interior seaway. So this could have led to the preservation of both marine fossils and terrestrial animals. There's your explanation, Kent. And that's just one formation.
That's not how it happened, though. And besides, fossil ages range from around 2.
Well, just saying that's not how it happened. That's not your, Dan, you're not giving an answer.
Okay, I'm going to remember that Kent said this every time he makes an unsubstantiated claim during this video. So remember that Kent said this.
I won't let you get by with that. And with me in a debate, call our office, 855 Big Dino, extension 4, Joseph, SciManDan, anytime. I'll debate him every day this year. Yes, sir. One topic at a time. Bring it on, Dan, if you want.
Okay, 2024, I think we should start a hashtag of boycott Hovind. Do not debate this man. No one should debate Kent Hovind in the coming year. I'm not going to debate Kent Hovind again. I don't think anybody should debate this man because there's literally no point. And I understand that for a long time people were leaving comments telling me there's no point to debating Kent Hovind, and I knew that, but you know, I will admit that I enjoyed it and it was good for videos on my channel. But at this point, after the last open mic I did with Kent, do not debate this man. I just think it would be hilarious if no one debated Kent, and I just think how mad he would get. But seriously, boycott Hovind. Hashtag boycott Hovind 2024.
150 million years to 65 million years ago. For example, a T-Rex lived closer to us in time than it did to us. Ages range from around 250 million years to 65 million years ago. For example,
and how do you know that? Dan, you have been suckered into believing in that stupid geologic column, which does not exist anywhere in the world. You believe that the top layer of dirt's younger than the bottom layer, don't you? Would you please answer the simple question, if these layers are different?
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed a super chat from Psilocybin Steve. It's for $2. It says, Kent doesn't have two brain cells to run together. Well, psilocybin is a hallucinogenic mushroom. And I think that microdosing psychedelics can help people who have PTSD and depression. It's been proven in laboratory studies. And it's also fun. I've heard that it's fun to take it recreationally in addition to LSD. I wouldn't know because I'm a good Christian boy.
Ages. Where'd they come from?
The lawyer guy, he's still around. Me and him text regularly. We're buddies.
I cover this on video number, let's see, not that one, Alt F open. I got too many things going on here at the same time. I got to come over to this slide.
Why don't you prepare for your streams, Ken?
One moment here, folks, okay?
Like, get your shit ready like I do before the stream
You said
starts.
they're different ages by 50 million years or something like that. That is pure propaganda, Dan. That's not science. Let me show you here. You guys claim that the layers of the Earth are different ages. This was all made up by Charles Lyell in the late 1800s. The geologic...
Charles Lyell was a creationist. He was trying to prove the Bible was true.
Column does not exist anywhere. And you got A levels in geology. No wonder you got brainwashed, okay?
Geography, not geology.
Close friend with Charles Darwin. Here's the problem here, right here. There's no such thing as a geologic column. It doesn't exist anywhere.
Yes,
the layers are not different ages. Dan,
yes, they are.
If the top layer is younger, where did that material come from? Outer space? You atheists never answer that simple.
Yes. Yes. So many people have answered this, Kent. You are a liar. Grayson has answered this in multiple debates. I've answered this question. Creationist Crybaby has answered this question in your videos. Mark Reed has answered this question. Horazio has answered this question in debates. I'm pretty sure Nick Platerwalk answered this question in debates with you. And people in the chat can name others. So many people have answered this question. I answered it directly, talking about limestone, and I asked you, who allegedly taught earth science for 15 years, how limestone forms, and you could not answer the question. You didn't know. You said it forms from lime. Oh, well, you see, you put the lime in the coconut and then it forms limestone.
Simple question. How can the layers be different ages? Let me get my sand art toy here. Maybe you can understand that one. If I flip this over, it'll make 10 or 15 or 20 layers in here. Are the layers different ages? No, they're all in here at the same time.
Did the layers each form at the exact same time? No, they didn't, did they, asshole? They formed at slightly different intervals, even if it's by femtoseconds or microseconds. In your sand art toy, if one layer forms and then it's set and no longer moves, we start the clock at 0 once that layer has settled. The layers above it or around it are still moving and have not settled yet. Therefore, they are different ages. This is literally, this is a concept that a 3-year-old could understand, Kent. But you, who calls other people willingly ignorant, act like you don't understand it. Because, you're a liar who lies to make money. You're a professional liar, basically. And a horrible, horrible person, Kent. You are a scumbag.
If you shuffle a deck of cards, is the top card younger? No, they're all the same age. See,
if you shuffle the wrinkles in my ball sack, does that make my balls different ages?
there is no geologic column. It doesn't exist anywhere in the world. It's fiction. If you shake up a jar with water and mud and other things in there, it'll form into layers in seconds. It doesn't take millions of years, and all the layers are the same age.
If you shake around a nutsack, will the balls bounce off each other at different times? And do I have a third ball, third Hovind?
I also cover, let's see, Polystrate fossils. You guys don't touch this with a 10-foot pole.
I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, or anyone at Dinosaur Adventureland. I wouldn't touch Chris Jones with a 10-foot pole. Chris Jones rapes children. That's your friend, Kent. Why are you friends with somebody who rapes children? Weird. It's weird, Kent. Do you rape children? I don't think you do, but why are you friends with... I'm not friends with... Hey, is anybody in the chat... Do you have any friends who rape children? Because I don't. Kent Hovind does. That's weird.
Petrified trees standing up, running through all the layers. Well, the tree was going to rot in less than a couple of years.
Your moral compass has rotted, Kent.
All the layers formed in 1 year during Noah's flood. Dan, you need to watch my video series.
You need to shut the fuck up, Kent.
Oh, let's get down to business. I don't got no time to play around with this. This must be a circus in town. Shut Daniel letting down on these hoes. Can I get a witness? Hell yeah.
Okay. And then call to schedule a debate. Actually, you need to watch my video series and pay attention and learn how to get saved, okay, and go to heaven.
I'm sorry. I've just already lost interest in this fucking video.
Petrified trees that are standing up, running through all the layers are found all over the world.
No, they're not. There are not polystrate fossils running through every single layer.
It's not like there's one or two. There's thousands of them.
Where are they?
Watch my video number 6.
I'd rather die.
Let me
I'd
get
rather
back
die.
to Dan and let him ramble for a minute. PowerPoint.
Watch Gutsick Gibbons' video on polyshadow trees. She debunks this better than I ever could. Also, she's prettier to look at than I am. But that video covers polystrata trees in a sedimentary deposition environment. But polystrata trees can form in volcanic layers, or layers from mud or debris flowing from a slurry of pyroclastic material, rocky debris, and water. And that material flows down from a volcano, sometimes along river valleys. Look at Specimen Ridge in Wyoming. These aren't polystrata trees. These are fossilized forests, not trees. This is how this argument actually works against creationists. They're not fossilized trees. They're fossilized forests, like in Yellowstone. Go explain that, Kent. Yeah, Aaron Ra also did a really good debunk of this stupid creationist talking point.
Dan, take it away. So you're wrong, Dan, that the Stegosaurus and the T-Rex lived at different times in history. All the animals lived at the same time, in man too, all of them.
A T-Rex lived closer to us in time than it did to a Stegosaurus.
That's just dogma. You're just saying that. It's not science. You don't know that, Dan. You're just presenting dogma, and your followers are going to fall for it.
No way that one...
This is projection. This is just literal projection.
Event could bury the two of them at the same time.
There's no way one event could bury those two because they lived at different times. The problem is you're believing they lived at different times. There's the problem. One event did bury them.
Despite them both being found in the US.
You're just saying that. You got mad at SciManDan for just making a claim without backing it up. You're just saying that, Kent.
There is no other option other than a global flood. And in order to get a fossil, you have to have rapid burial. And so that's the only explanation why we would find these dinosaurs buried and preserved in the positions that we find them.
So fossils have to form from rapid burial. So the only explanation is a global flood? Why aren't separate floods also an explanation? I'd love for these creationists to answer that question.
If that was the case, then you'd be finding dinosaurs in every single area of Earth.
No, Dan. In a flood, things tend to get scattered, and some with the water swirling, especially with the Coriolis effect of the Earth, you would have things swirling into piles. You would get piles of dead animals. Go any place where there's been a flood. Is all the debris evenly spread? No, it's scattered. It's in pile lumps here and there. You need to study a little flood geology, okay?
His courses were in geography, Kent. This is driving me nuts. But it wouldn't matter because there would be so many fossils. If all the animals on Earth lived at the same time, it wouldn't matter if there was a flood because there would be so many fossils.
There are some areas where we find no dinosaur fossils at all. For example, there are large swathes of land in Central Australia where we have found none.
Does that mean there are none there? Or none got
It would appear that way.
buried there? Maybe they haven't been found yet. You don't know.
Well, why have none been found, and yet we found fossils in lots of other areas all over the Earth? That doesn't make sense if every animal lived at the same time, does it?
Any of that.
And within some of these dinosaurs, we find preserved blood cells.
No, not blood cells. There are preserved elements of blood, like hemoglobin, that are preserved via the same process that forms leather. There are tannins in the organic matter of the dinosaur bone, skin, and these elements of blood vessels are preserved, but it's not blood outright, okay? It's not just blood that's preserved for millions of years. Go look up Mary Schweitzer. Mary Schweitzer does not like creationists using her discovery to try and argue for a young Earth. She tells creationists not to do that. She doesn't like you guys.
Now,
I don't blame her.
the blood cells were analyzed by different scientists, and we found that they actually died from...
Yeah, the iron helped in cross-linking. I'm butchering the explanation, but I'll Google it in a second.
Drowning. And so, once again, you have to ask the question, what could cause waves so huge that they would hit in the center of the United States, all the way from the oceanic coast?
Well, 150 million years ago, the Earth's continents looked very different than they do today.
You don't know any such thing, Dan. You can't possibly know that. We know they were covered with water. It could just as easily have been 4,500 years ago in Noah's flood.
Most fossils that have been found are from animals that live very close to lakes or rivers. And
Lots of fossils are found of animals that live nowhere close to lakes or rivers.
their remains recovered shortly after, or they died in the water. And this is a much more feasible explanation than the ocean reaching the entirety of the inland.
Noah's flood is the explanation for these things. In fact, it is the only explanation. And this is why we find whales perfectly preserved on top of mountains. Now, how could whales have possibly gotten to the top of certain mountains? This is also why we find whales in the desert.
Yeah, the thing is, Matt, those areas were not mountains and deserts when that animal died.
Bingo. You're starting to get it, Dan. You see, the whole world was covered with water.
Okay, so this is, I'm going to read, this is what I always look up when I have to talk about, I'm assuming Matt Powell meant the soft tissue preserved in T-Rex bones as the blood. Did he say blood? So whenever I have to look this up, I always go to the same site. I'll link it in the description. Stated Clearly has an excellent video on this exact topic. And I just read the transcript from this. This has saved my ass in some debates, like with Nephilim Free, because it's so well written. So I'm just going to read like some of this because it's pretty short. So soft tissue has been found in T-Rex bones. So what could this mean? In 2003, a team of paleontologists finished excavating an incomplete yet exceptionally well-preserved T-Rex skeleton. During removal, the animal's thigh bone was broken in half. Before it was repaired, Dr. Mary Schweitzer requested a piece of the bone for destructive dissection and chemical analysis. After applying a solvent designed to remove hard minerals, a diverse collection of soft material could be seen under the microscope. It included what looked like tiny blood vessels, those commonly found inside fresh bone, several types of protein, and even the remnants of what looked like individual red blood cells. She was shocked. According to our understanding at the time, unless tanned like leather with special chemicals, soft tissue was predicted to completely deteriorate, even under the best of circumstances, in less than 1 million years. This T-Rex leg bone, however, was found in rocks dating back 68 million years. What could this discovery of soft tissue mean? To Schweitzer and most other researchers, it could mean one of three things. 1. The fossil might be far younger than previously thought, possibly less than 1 million years old. 2. The fossil may have been recently contaminated by microbes that produced the soft structures after the bone had fossilized, a substance known as biofilm. 3. There may be a previously unknown natural mechanism capable of preserving soft tissue far longer than 1 MYA. Having studied paleontology throughout her career, Dr. Schweitzer knew that option number 1 was least likely. And, skipping forward, iron particles are common in our blood. Normally, however, they're trapped safely inside hemoglobin, a blood protein that uses iron to capture oxygen in the lungs and deliver it throughout the body. While iron is safe and highly useful inside hemoglobin, loose iron particles can wreak havoc in our cells. In a process called cross-linking, iron can trigger a series of reactions, eventually causing proteins and other cellular structures to unravel and fuse together in a tangled, useless mess. And, so she imagined a scenario like this. When a large animal dies and blood begins to decompose, iron is released from hemoglobin. As it seeps out into tissues and bone in high concentration, it initiates cross-linking. Soft tissues most affected are preserved like leather. Tissues that are both cross-linked and protected safely inside hard bone might survive for even millions of years. So you can read more of this if you want, but this is such an excellent explanation. And let's get back to the video because this is kind of a tangent, but I had to dunk on Matt Powell and correct the record.
Water. And at the end of the flood, the mountains arose, the valleys sank down, the water redistributed into what we have today, which is big puddles called oceans and continents sticking up through them. Okay. So the oceans formed at the end of the flood from the water running off from the flood. People say, where did all the water from Noah's flood go? It's still here. It's in the oceans. Okay. So
how does that make sense?
So the mountains arose, and there are clams on top of Mount Everest. You need to study some science, Dan. Tell you what, I'll debate you. Bring it on. Anytime. Anytime.
This is why we find clams that are in the closed position that were catastrophically buried on top of Mount Everest, 29,000 feet above sea level. We also find trees going through all of the different layers of supposed geologic time. People think that these layers are millions of years of different time zones. If you have a tree that was placed there at the time of the formation of the layers around it, that means that the layers are not millions of years of different ages.
Okay, first off, a fossilized tree is not an organic tree.
What? A fossil?
You obviously know what he said, Kent. Kent's gonna play dumb here for, and play it up for comedic effect. Fossilized tree is not organic because the organic material is no longer there as it turns to mineral and rock. But he's gonna play dumb like, what did you say? Hovind?
Fossilized tree is not an organic tree. I don't think you understand what you're talking about, Dan. See, when you don't know what you're talking about, it's best just not to talk.
And yet you never shut the fuck up, Kent.
Okay. Trees are organic. Okay. And once it fossilizes, it's no longer organic. It's no longer made out of wood. It's now
Oh, so you did know what he meant.
turned to stone, but it's running through all the layers. You're missing the point completely. The layers cannot be different ages, not by more than a few months. Or how long does it take for a tree to rot?
How long does it take for a forest to fossilize and then 18 more forests on top of it to fossilize?
A couple years, maybe max. We've got a piece in our science center, piece of a petrified tree that was found standing up, and the bark is still on it.
And those layers are formed very rapidly, most likely from volcanic eruptions.
That's not volcanic lava, Dan. Study those layers.
Volcanic ash.
It's not lava.
It's
There's
ash.
all kinds of layers. There's sedimentary rock, there's igneous rock, there's metamorphic rock. There's all the layers of your stupid geologic column.
Yeah, there's also wind-blown aeolian layers. How do you explain that in the geologic column, Kent, that you have layers laid down by water, and then you have layers laid down by wind, and then volcanic ash, and then water, and then wind, and then water and wind? Was there a flood that receded, and then the wind-blown layers were laid down, and then the water came back? And is it the bump? The moon holds a bump of water, and it's like the moon holds a bump of water. It's my bumps, my lovely Hovind lumps. Hovind?
Form around these trees. Don't say it's all volcanic. You don't know that. You're just making that up to try to hide an embarrassing problem for your theory. The layers are not different ages. If the top layer is younger, where did it come from? Moving it from here to here doesn't change the age of it. Every molecule of dirt on the planet is the same age, Dan, whether it's 6,000 or 6 trillion. They're all the same age. Are they coming from outer space? How can the top layers be younger? You guys never answer that one.
You're a
We
liar.
also find coal deposits that are over 100 feet thick.
Thickest one is 300 feet, I think. Pure coal for 300 feet. That'd take a lot of trees.
Now, coal comes
So
from
would
vegetation
fossilized forests.
and different organisms that have been smashed together between sediments. How in the world are you going to get a coal deposit that's over 100 feet thick?
It's really not hard to see that swampland would cause really thick coal deposits.
Coal seams are formed from dead and decaying organic matter, generally from ancient peat bogs that died and fell into shallow, stagnant waters. So as the material decayed, it became peat over time. And as this peat was buried under sediment, the temperature increased and the pressure became greater, changing the peat into harder lignite coal. So coal seams can be as thick as 30 meters and stretch as far as 1,500 kilometers.
Is this really an argument, Matt?
That formed in swampland? Is that really an argument, Dan? No, that's dumb. Everybody that studies the coal, there's several types, bituminous, subbituminous, lignite.
Hey, we got Mark Stoney in the chat.
Anthracite.
And Claude Balls. Shout out to Mark and Soot Kettle. I think we have 140 people watching. Thank you guys for watching the stream.
There's no question. There's varieties of coal. It depends how much pressure it's under. But 100-foot or 300-foot thick layers of coal is not going to form in the bottom of a swamp. Go to school, man.
Why not? Why not, Kent? Swamps can preserve organic material exquisitely, right? Like, have you ever seen the bog bodies? Google bog bodies. They preserve people who have unfortunately fallen into bogs and died. Their bodies are preserved almost like they were frozen in ice. It's incredible. This just shows pure ignorance on Kent Hovind's part by just hand waving away the idea that a bog or I was going to say a moat, but a bog or a swamp could preserve something. They're the perfect environment to preserve organic material and fossils and fossilize things. Perfect environment.
Hovind.
This shows us that the
Perfect, Hovind.
pre-flood world was extremely lush. There was a lot of vegetation. There was large.
By the way, there's more coal in the world today than you could make if you took every tree and bush and blade of grass in the world and squeezed it under pressure to turn it to coal. And coal can be made in the laboratory in about 20 minutes, taking vegetation and squeezing it. Heat and pressure changes it to coal. If you took every tree in the world and every blade of grass and every plant and squeezed them, you couldn't make all the coal that's in the ground.
Well, yeah, obviously, because millions of years ago, the entire Earth could be overrun with vegetation. Now we have industrialized cities, and humans live all over the Earth. So there's much less forest areas. We're burning and killing the rainforest. They use flamethrowers to burn down koalas. I mean, they kind of deserve it, but, the trees didn't do anything. I'm going to go tie myself to a tree next time they try to bulldoze one and protest. Kent, you're welcome to join me.
Well, that's because today the Earth is 70% underwater. When God made it, it was made to be inhabited and mostly inhabited, and probably large forests everywhere. That's where all the coal came from in one flood, Noah's flood. Dan did all that. You don't have an answer for how these coal seams form.
Animals, dinosaurs, that were all buried together with trees and with different organic materials and creating massive amounts of coal. Now, mountains themselves are great proof.
No, you got coal, rock.
That is genuinely really cool how that looks. Like, it's just really beautiful, Like, I don't want to say geology. Geography? See, now Kent's got me confused. But whatever, the study of these things, these hard things, whatever they are, is so cool. I love cool rocks. Dude, rocks are so epic.
Coal, rock, like pancakes.
I prefer waffles.
Nice, neat lines. You'd almost think it was like the tide washing back and forth during Noah's flood, changing.
Yeah, because tides form neat lines. Even though the tides change during the day and wouldn't form even lines.
Every 6 hours, 12 and a half minutes.
Oh, 12 and a half minutes. You can remember that, but you can't remember the answer that people tell you in debates. So are you just pretending? Or do you have a selective memory? Or are you just pretending to be dumb? Geology. See, Kent's got me fucked up now.
Flood. If you look at the layers of some of these mountains, you'll notice that all of the layers are bent. You cannot bend hard rock.
You can bend hard cock.
That means that all of these layers were moist when they were laid down.
Sorry, he set me up for that one. It's a layup.
And then when the plates were moving, they were bent.
Okay, I need to get another Red Bull.
Upward,
I'll be back.
as all of them were pliable and all of them solidified together in one event.
Geological folds around the world are all different ages.
No, you're missing the point, Dan. All the layers bent and then they hardened. If the bottom layer is millions of years older, it would have been hard rock, and so when it tries to bend, it's going to get little fracture marks in there, cracks. They're not cracked, Dan. Back up and show you again. Maybe you'll get it this time. All the layers are like a stack of pancakes. They got bent while they were still all wet, all soft. Then they hardened, which is why there's no internal fracture marks. Let's look at it again, Dan. Watch this carefully now. Go get him, Matt. Okay, right here. Push the button. PhD, push here, dummy. Got it.
As all of them were pliable and all of them solidified together in one event.
Geological folds around the world are all different ages. Radiometrically tested. You just can't argue with that.
I can, Dan. Call 855 Big Dino extension 4. I'll argue with that. You believe in radiometric dating? You're still completely missed the point. All the layers were soft and all bent, and then they hardened. You're not getting it. I need my bigger hammer for this guy. Hang on 1 second. Dan, pay attention. You're not getting it. All the layers were soft. regardless of the age. They all are the same age. Whatever that age is, they all bent and then they hardened. You are not getting it.
So hard rock can fold. Geologic folds are layers of rock that are curved or bent by ductile deformation. Folds are most commonly found formed by compressional forces at depth, where hotter temperatures and higher confining pressures allow ductile deformation to occur.
According to humanists, the plates on the Earth have only been moving about 1 to 2 inches per year. And these plates slowly create the mountains as one slides onto the other plate. This could not have happened. These mountain ranges that we see would have shattered and broken. They would have eroded flat. You cannot bend hard rock. All of these rocks that we see on these mountains were all soft and moist at the time of their formation.
You understand, Dan? No internal fracture marks.
Ah, great, Matt. Let's see your master's and degree in geology.
There we go. Because you don't have a degree, Matt, therefore you're wrong. You're still missing the point.
You're the one that called SciManDan's education into question at the beginning of this video. Now it's not okay for him to do that to Matt Powell. Why not? Hypocrite. Hovind.
Is it me or is he totally evading the point? How can all the layers be bent and the bottom ones, if they were millions of years different in age, certainly would have hardened by then?
Why? How do you know?
But no, they all bent while they were all soft. Dan, you're not getting it. Pay attention.
And your paper that you wrote.
I just want to draw attention to this comment from Jacqueline Russell. It says that I look nice today. Thank you. I tried. This is because I wanted the stream to be good, so I wore my fancy shirt.
To explain.
So you don't have a degree, Matt, and you didn't write a paper, therefore it's not true. That's his logic.
How mountains are not caused by tectonic.
You have to look at the logo. Look at the logo. If you don't see the logo, that you can't tell that I spent a lot of money on the shirt. Never mind.
Activity. We'll wait.
And that's why they're all perfectly bent many times. And you can see these beautiful photos of mountain ranges that show that they were created by a catastrophic flood and not millions of years of geological time. And that's why you find polystrata fossils connecting all the layers. That's why you find...
This video is so fucking boring. I hope you guys don't mind if I'm like playing my Switch while I listen to it.
Whales on mountains, clams on mountains, sea life on every single mountain on Earth. Why? Because the Earth was flooded. Because by the word of God, the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water. Because the world that then was, that was overflowed with water, perished.
Okay, great. So the Bible states that all high areas were covered, but everything that happened in the Bible happened in this little circle right here. How do we know that the Andes were covered?
It's a good point.
Or the Alps?
You're missing the point again, Dan. The Bible says all the mountains were covered. You see, Dan?
Well, I mean, if the Bible says it, then that settles it, right?
When the water goes up to the top of a mountain, it goes over and it keeps going. See, you can't just talk about that little circle. If the mountains are covered, water spreads
Throw that ash in a circle. Throw that ash in a circle for Urkel.
out, Dan. See, water is a liquid and it seeks its own level. If all the mountains are covered, the whole world was covered.
I don't have a screen capture for I have the Switch in handheld mode, so I couldn't do that, Mark Stoney.
Now, at the end of the flood, Psalm 104 tells us the mountains arose and the valleys sank down. People say, do you think the water was over Mount Everest? No, Mount Everest wasn't there. Mount Everest formed at the end of the flood.
And how long did that take?
So yes, the water, it was over the whole world, and then the mountains rose up, and Mount Everest has clams on top of it. Petrified, closed clams, like this guy.
So Mount Everest took about 60 million years to form. You're saying that it formed at the end of the flood? So what, in less than 2,000 years? How? That's ridiculous, Kent.
Clams don't climb mountains very well. The world was covered, Dan, and then the mountains arose. Isn't it interesting that all the mountain ranges seem to follow the coastlines? Let's see. The Rocky Mountains follow the North Pacific.
The Himalayas don't follow the coastline.
The Andes Mountains follow the South Pacific. The Appalachian Mountains follow the Atlantic. It's almost like they were formed at the same time because of the same thing. Like the plates of the earth are busted up and they're shifting around. One place lifts up, another place goes down. This becomes mountains. This water runs off. This becomes ocean. I don't think you're going to get it, Dan, but I'm going to try.
So the Himalayas, for that matter. Answer? You don't.
And I think that the most powerful argument of all is the fact that we find 10
Can we just agree in the chat that my shirt looks way fucking better than either of these two guys, but especially Matt Powell? I'm just saying, bro. Like, atheist drip. Just saying. Creationist whack, atheist drip. Just saying.
10-mile thick pieces of rock from the Earth's crust that have been subducted rapidly 500 miles down into Earth's hot molten mantle. This rock that we found that's 10 miles thick, it's still cold even though it's surrounded by 5,000 degree molten rock.
Those subducted plates are still 500 degrees C.
Dan, listen to what he says.
Is the audio like glitching for you guys? So I'm going to cover this part quickly. So basically, what they're saying here is they're talking about oceanic crust that subducts into the mantle of the Earth. So the mantle of the Earth is not liquid hot magma, it's solid rock. And this oceanic crust is much denser than the mantle surrounding it. It's filled with water because oceanic crust. So when it subducts, it does heat up, but the water is going to off gas and turn to steam and release some of that heat. But at the depths they're talking about, they're talking about 500 kilometers down. The mantle has a range of temperatures from about 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 500 centigrade, to something like 4,000 degrees, 3,700 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not 5,000 degrees. Yeah, it's like 1,000 to like 5,000 degrees. But at the very top of the mantle, it's closer to 1,000. So they're misrepresenting this temperature gradient. But this oceanic crust that subducts into the mantle, this is a process that is very, very slow because of how long tectonic activity takes to happen. That's why this temperature gradient can exist. It's not like dropping something cold into a pot of boiling water. You know, you guys have heard the analogy of boiling the frog. It's not true, but it works as a metaphor. So it's literally because deep time is actually true that this temperature gradient can happen. So they're misrepresenting the difference in temperature. They're misrepresenting the time it takes for this to happen. They're basically liars. But I'll play a little bit of this, then I'll show you guys the other video, the bonus video, and then we'll wrap the stream up because I'm getting cranky. I can only handle so much Kent Hovind, and I need to lay down for my nap, or else I'm gonna throw a tantrum.
500 degrees centigrade. Okay, that's colder than the rock around it. But what did he just say? And what did you just say? Let's see, back it up here a little bit. Let's get it here. So the rock.
Back that ass up. Back it up. Beep, beep, beep. Hovering.
Around it is way more than 500. Now listen, Dan, listen. You ready? Here goes.
It's still cold even though it's surrounded by 5,000 degree molten rock.
See, when it's 5,000 degree around it, a 500 degree rock is cold compared to that and would quickly heat up. How long would it stay, that 4,500 degree difference, do you think? How long, Dan?
Subducted plates are still 500 degrees C. They aren't cold per se. But what would be the reason for them?
You're missing the point. If they'd been there for millions of years, there wouldn't be that temperature gradient, Dan. How can you not get it?
Why not?
Tell you what, stick an ice cube in the oven and see if it'll last for, 5 years, let alone 5 million years.
Boy, you were just the king of inaccurate analogies, Kent.
Being cooler. Perhaps the fact that they were oceanic plates? Could it be that
That's got nothing to do with it. If they're oceanic plates and they're cooler and they get subducted down into 10 or 5,000 degree temperature, they're not going to stay 500 degrees for millions of years. How can you not get it? I need a bigger hammer. Here, Dan, just for you.
Okay, we have a super chat from Colossia for $5. It says, looking good, AJ. Well, thank you. I appreciate the compliment and the super chat.
We're going to be out the big...
Okay, this is... Fuck you, Kent. This is so fucking stupid. So, we're going to switch over to the homeschool video. And I am just going to let you guys watch a little bit of that. And then I'm going to come back and we'll wrap the stream up. So I'll show you a couple minutes of this just for funsies. Maybe I'll react to this video. There are 7 of these. So, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how... if these videos are like, stream material, but we'll see. These have never been seen before on the internet. These are not on YouTube anywhere that I've seen. So I'll just switch this over. Thank you guys so much for watching the stream with me. I really feel like, it's a good way to end the year, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So, one second. Alt DV. I just gotta find my slide. Hovind. God. Sarah? What's your name? Which wife are you? Where's my slide? Where's my fucking slide? Oh, here it is. Hovind. Okay, I will be back in a few minutes.
Well, good morning, boys and girls. Glad to have you here for our homeschool science class. My name is...
My name is Kent Hovind. Sorry, I had to.
Kent Hovind. I taught high school science for 15 years, and I like science. In this class, we're going to learn some things about science that will help you in the world today. We might even get a surprise visit once in a while during this course from Dr. Kaboom and Dr. Kabang. They fly in once in a while from Germany, and they do some of the craziest experiments you can imagine. Those guys are really smart scientists. Today we're going to learn about physical science. Now, the word science means knowledge. That's all. It just means knowledge. What do you know? And the more science you learn, the more knowledge you have, and the easier it is to do things. Physical science is the study of the physical world, things that you can touch, things that you can handle, the physical world. Life science is the study of things that are alive. That's where you would study like biology, plants, worms, stuff like that, things that are alive. That would be life science. In physical science, you study things that are not alive, non-living material. And you can call me Brother Hovind. Hovind is Norwegian. Hovind, like the wind is blowing. I do have a doctor's degree, but I can't afford the malpractice insurance. So Brother Hovind is perfectly fine. There are no tests or homework in this class. My favorite kind. At least, I won't be giving any tests or homework. Hopefully your parents will. They'll probably be taking some notes saying, let's see how much you learned and you don't get your breakfast if you don't know these answers or something like that, right? So you parents feel free to be as hard on your kids as you like. We will not do any tests. We'll just have a good time, and we will learn all sorts of things about science. Class will start on time pretty much as possible, and will end 50 minutes later, as much as possible, to leave room for the next class coming in after you. Feel free to call me if you have any questions. You can reach me on my cell phone almost anywhere. That number is 850 in Pensacola, Florida, 572-DINO, that's Dinosaur, 850-572-3466, and I'll be glad to answer any questions if I can help you. Or you can see Mr. Bill, who'll be working here, or my son Eric. His cell phone is 572-3461, almost the same. So you can call us on our cell phone if you have any questions. I have a very tight schedule this year. Occasionally, I'll have to leave right at the end of class to go catch an airplane, like today. My plane leaves at 10:35 to fly to Oklahoma. 3 days ago, I was in Alaska. So I travel all over the place and do seminars on dinosaurs and creation evolution. And we are glad to have you here. We're going to learn about machines. This, believe it or not, is a machine. A machine is something to help you in this life to do something that you otherwise probably would not be able to do. If we pounded a nail into a board, like this one, and I changed my mind and wanted to get the nail back out, do you think I could pull it out? Probably not. I need a machine to give me more power. Sometimes you need a machine to give you more speed. Machines are all different kinds. There are lots of different kinds of machines. We're going to talk about one of them in here today. The Bible says about the devil, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Satan is always looking for a way to get an advantage over you, and you got to be careful that you don't let him do that, right? We're going to learn how to get an advantage over things. I would like to get an advantage over that nail, because right now I can't pull the nail out of that board. But I believe if we learn how to use a machine, we could have, what's your name, Hannah? I believe Hannah, who weighs 50 pounds, could probably pull a nail like that out of a board with only one hand. If we get the right kind of machine, she's going to be able to pull the nail out of the board with one finger. Actually, I believe Hannah could probably lift the golf cart. You think you could lift our golf cart? Probably not just lift it, but if you were smart and you had some science, and science means what? Knowledge. If you had some knowledge, you could figure out a way to lift the golf cart just all by yourself. And one little machine called a lever. There are three kinds of machines in this world. Three kinds of what are called simple machines. There is the lever, which we're going to talk about today. There is the wheel and axle, which we'll talk about later. And then there is the ramp, or the inclined plane. Those are the three basic kinds of machines. So the lever, the wheel and axle, and the inclined plane, or the ramp. Like if you want to put a heavy car up into the back of a truck, you don't just lift it up and put it in, you push it up a ramp. That makes it lots easier, right? Sure. So we'll learn about those later. This kind of machine right here is a teeter-totter. As you move the weights back and forth, you can balance the teeter-totter. How many have seen a teeter-totter before? Now, if you have a great big kid on one end and a little bitty kid on the other end, it won't go anywhere, will it? No. In order to make a teeter-totter work, you have to have two kids that weigh the same. Or you have to make one end of the teeter-totter longer. We're going to learn how this kind of machine works and how to figure out the way it works and how to calculate how much weight you need. There are three parts to a lever. We're going to use this stick right here as a lever today. Our lever is an ordinary stick of wood, and I have a piece of wood for it to balance on. The thing that it balances on is called the fulcrum. I didn't name it that. I don't know who did, but we're stuck with it, okay? So you just got to learn the name fulcrum. I'd have called it something else like the balance point, but somebody, probably some Latin guy. Latin's a dead language. It killed the Romans, and now it's killing us. But anyway, it's called the fulcrum. As soon as I lay this lever on here, I now have two parts to the lever. I have one part over here and another part over here, right? The part on this end is where I'm going to put in the effort. I'm going to push down on this end. That's called the effort arm.
Okay, so yeah, the word fulcrum means bedpost in Latin. It comes from the verb fulcere, which means to prop up. So seems pretty, it's words in English have Latin origins. So yeah, so this is the physical science homeschool set. It's pretty boring, honestly. Like, it's mostly Kent just explaining like stuff that's technically accurate, but it's just in his kind of stupid style. So I was kind of hoping for something, like where he's gonna get stuff blatantly wrong. So I want to get you guys' opinion on this. Let me see if I can bring this up. Oh, Jesus. Why is that chroma keyed? Wow. So anyway, you guys can see this. So this is nope. This is Kent Hovind complete homeschool set on USB flash drive on eBay. So we have algebra, biology, earth and space, basic electricity, physical science, which I have the physical science videos, and plumbing. So do you guys think I should order this? This is an eBay seller, so this is not going directly to Kent, but this seems like there could be some good potential here because none of these videos are on YouTube for whatever reason. I feel like with biology, earth and space, and I'm really curious to see the Kent teaching algebra. So I'm probably going to order this. I'm interested to hear what you guys think, because I would love to see Kent get stuff wrong, like when he talks about oh, thank God, I thought I was muted for a second. When he tries to talk about reproduction and how chromosomes work. I love that video. But yeah, do you guys think I should order this? I'm probably going to order it anyway. What's funny is that if I log into my Atheist Junior account on eBay, this seller has my account blocked. I think he knows who I am. Like, I think he knows my channel. Because why else would he have that account blocked, right? That's funny. I thought I got a kick out of that. So, yeah, I think this looks interesting to me. But anyway, that's gonna do it. Thank you guys so much for just watching my videos, hanging out on the stream today. I think it was a lot of fun. I had fun. I just want to check real quick how many people are in the side chat. Okay, we have 107 viewers. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to the people who sent super chats. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We're at 8,600 subs, so I really want to get to 9,000 in 2024. I'm sure we'll hit that, but share the videos. Like, share them with a friend or an enemy. Share them with your mother. Leave a comment telling me what you thought. Kent Hovind fans, go away. Like, you guys have turned my comment section into just a dumpster fire. You guys suck. Do not leave comments. I will delete them because you guys suck. But if you're supportive of my channel, leave a comment. I'm biased in that way. But yeah, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next video in the new year. Peace out.